Unappeasable Henry sulked. I can see his point, a trying to put things over. It was the thought that they thought they could do it, made Henry wicked and away. But he should have come out and talked. All the world like a woolen lover once did seem on Henry's side. Then came a departure. Thereafter nothing fell out as it might or ought. I don't see how Henry, pried open for all the world to see, survived. What he has now to say is a long wonder the world can bear and be. Once in a sycamore I was glad, all at the top and I sang. Hard on the land wears the strong sea, and empty grows every bed. All right, this is John Berriman's first dream song of way over 300. It was for the book 77 Dream Songs, which is the one the volume I had when I first read this poem was published in 1969, I think. The poem, pardon?
I think that,
yeah. The poem interests me in many, many ways. One of you notice that I recited the poem rather than read it. And I like to do that because it helps me. I mean, I like to memorize poems, or as I say, get them by heart, because I find out that I listen to them better. There are many reasons why I love this poem, and one of them does have to do with that sense of listening. Huffy Henry hid the day, unappeasable Henry sulked. I was riding my bicycle in the orange orchard. This time it's really true. I use that all the time, but this time it was true. I was riding my bike in the orange orchard, and I thought, what a strange usage. Hid the day. Huffy Henry hid the day. And then, for the first time, as I was saying the poem to myself, I heard unappeasable, and I realized that the usage is seize the day. Huffy Henry seized the day, unappeasable. All you have of the usage seize the day, carpe diem, is that sound in unappeasable. So then I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to write it from that point of view? Happy Henry seized the day. Unappeasable Henry laughed. I see his point of putting things over. It was the thought that he knew he could do it made Henry wicked and a jerk. But the way that that Berriman in many of his poems, and I have lots of early drafts of his poems too, but sound was such an important contingency for him. For most of us, the main contingency is meaning or emotion, but for him it was sound. And I have not read this anywhere, but I swear that unappeasable is meant for us to understand the usage of hid the day. I like this poem too because it reminds me of another work that I have read many times, the Iliad. So we've got Huffy Henry, away from the world, right? Just as Achilles hid in his tent. Because what happened is his girlfriend was taken away by Agamemnon. He was really pissed off about that, and he wouldn't fight in the Trojan War until his friend Patroclus was killed, and then he did. But he hid away. He was very proud, and we have a Henry here who's hiding away in his pride. Now, he invented these poems, and he wrote to his mother very interestingly about them. He said that the early dream songs were very difficult to write. It took him months sometimes to write a poem, but by the end of the series, he was able to write 2 and 3 a day because he had learned the form. The other thing I want to talk about in respect to this poem has to do with the conventional wisdom that you try not to be abstract if you can be particular. Now, you all probably know the story of, maybe some of you don't, but Berriman's father at one point either killed himself or was shot by his mother's lovers by his mother's lover, who became his stepfather. And that is, many people think, is the reason for his alcoholism and all of the other difficulties that he had. But you notice that the poem does not say, all the world like a woolen lover once did seem on Henry's side, and then my father shot himself. And then my stepfather shot my father. And I think the reason for that is that it allows us into the poem better. There are more losses than the death of the father. There are more reasons for hiding away, for not being able to deal with the world. And so his choice, and by the way, I'll finish my sentence. His choice is not to reveal the biographical detail. And I would say that knowing the biographical detail, something exterior to the poem, is really of very little importance here. I can tell you, though, that in other dream songs, he does reference his father's death. Mm-hmm. So that proves that he meant not to here. And I think it has to do with what he was trying to do, which was to create a universal experience. And that has to do too, I think, with his pronoun usage. So we have Huffy Henry, and then we have I, and then they. It was a thought that they thought they could do it, unidentified. He should have come out and talk. And then I don't see how Henry pried open for all the world to see survived. And then back to he. And I think he's including us all, I think, in the strategy of the poem. And listen to the way it ends. It ends with the narrator speaking. Once in a sycamore, I was glad, all at the top, and I sang. Had on the land where's the strong sea, and empty grows not my bed, not Henry's bed, but every bed, all our beds. That's it.
Nice.